It's the second annual Villys Awards with your host, Frederick Dukes, also known as the Blob.
Yes, we're doing it, ladies and gents. We're doing it again. We're doing another one of these. We're doing it. And we're gonna stick to the rules that we had last time. No one gets nominated twice, and we had to discriminate against the super villains because we are the super villains. So hopefully by the time we get to do the third one, I don't have to keep saying that. Okay, so now that we've gone over what's gonna stay the same, let's go over what changes now. Oh, changes. Now, these changes are just to make the show more easy to produce. Let's simplify things. I feel like we made things needlessly complicated last year. It was more of the traditional award show formula. But this year I thought, you know what, since we aren't like all of those other award shows, why should we even try to be so much like them? No, we're gonna do it our own way. So we're gonna be a lot more casual about it. Yeah, we're gonna be a lot more laid back because last year I was doing all the speculating in the green room. And the reason why I was doing it in the green room is because that's not the traditional award show way to just speculate right there on the stage. No, that's bad etiquette. Well, screw that etiquette. Fuck that etiquette right up in the ass. Because this year, the presenters will not just list off the nominations all robotically. We're gonna do it naturally, through conversation over who is going to win. Yes, this is the laid-back award show. Yeah, this is the award show you can do without wearing pants. Let it all droop in the breeze. So without further rambling, it's time for the first award. Best Surprise Villain. Yes, oh, surprise! We've got a new category. So every year, that's gonna be the category that changes up. Last year was musical villain. This year is surprise villain. Oh, but what's next year? Well, we've already decided. Now, we're still gonna be professional about this. We're not gonna be too laid back. We're still gonna have a presenter. It's just that they're gonna be talking with me this time. Yes, I'm not going anywhere. And it's not just because I'm fat and lazy. So to help me discuss this category is a particular individual that has been best known to encapsulate such a criteria. And the thing that makes it really impressive is that he was already in the whole movie. So the surprise wasn't himself, it was the type of villain he wound up being. A super villain. And we didn't even know that the whole movie. Unless you heard about it later because you weren't interested at first until you heard about the spoiler. And then what made it even more impressive is that he became a surprise villain of this award show. Yes, last year he unexpectedly showed up to hand my ass over to me. It's not a surprise that our presenter for Best Surprise Villain is the Horde! Let's give a round of applause to the Horde, everybody! Oh no! Oh God! Oh, what the fuck? Oh, what the? Oh my God! Oh, what happened? Oh no! Oh no, this is a horrible surprise. Someone call the ambulance! Someone call the ambulance! Oh, I don't feel a pulse! I don't feel a pulse! It's too late! He's dead! He's dead! Someone shot him! They shot him right in the abdomen! In the abdomen! They shot him! This wasn't supposed to happen! We were supposed to be excited about his big return, and he's already dead? No! No! Who did this? Who did this?
Bullseye.
You did this? How could you? Taking out one of your own?
Well, I wish I could take credit for that handiwork, but I have to be honest. That's not mine.
Then why the hell are you here?
I'm just here to admire the craftsmanship. Not a bad job, but it still could have used some improvement. Because you see, if I was the one who was assigned this opportunity, I would have been more clean with it. It would have been real quick. It wouldn't have been a hesitation like it was with this guy. Granted, he still got the job done nonetheless, but he could have done it a lot quicker and more efficiently if he had just been more confident with his first aim. Just right in there, just get it done and over with.
Oh, if he was gonna die, it wasn't supposed to be by some random nameless sniper. It should have been by the hero, the Overlooker, or whatever the hell his name was.
Hey, isn't this category all about the surprise villains? The ones that you didn't realize were even in the movie until right at the end?
Well, actually, the criteria is very loose. It can be all different types of surprises. Sure, you can have the villain that wasn't there until right at the end, but you can also have the villain that was there the whole time, but you didn't even know they were a villain. And then you can have the characters that didn't become a villain until right near the end.
Well, I guess I meet that criteria then. The whole third season of Daredevil was a gradual transformation from CIA agent to the full-fledged Bullseye you see before you.
I'm not sure if that's what we really wanted.
What? But these Marvel Netflix shows are all about the gradual transformation of the villain.
Well, yeah, we liked that about Kingpin and Nuke and Jigsaw, but the thing is that not every villain should be that way. There's certain villains where the most interesting thing about them is that they never had an origin. They were just a villain right from the get-go. And that's what we wanted from you. Because you're supposed to be the villain who's just there, who doesn't have an origin or nothing. Because that's what we like the most about you. I mean, granted, eventually, in Earth 616, I think we began to know more about your past, but that's not what we liked about you. What we liked was that you were just always there. No explanation, just there. And that's what we wanted here. We just wanted you to show up, already Bullseye, and just giving Daredevil shit.
Huh. I'm sorry for disappointing ya, and forcing all of you to refer to me as Benjamin Poindexter.
Yeah, what the fuck was up with that? In Earth 616, that's just a fake name that you came up with yourself. It's supposed to sound stupid because you made it up on the fly. But here, we're just supposed to accept that that's your actual name?
Look, if I hadn't have shown up the way I did, then that would mean that I am not eligible to talk about this category with you.
Aw, too soon, Bullseye. My friend just died, and I promised him that I was gonna do a whole episode of post-defeat for him. But he would have wanted the show to go on. I know it. So are you prepared to talk about these nominations?
I sure am. Let's start with Dr. Newt from Pacific Rim 2.
This unexpected plot twist is actually what inspired us to create this category. It was just such a left turn, and we should have seen it coming, like years ago, back when we saw the first movie. He connected his brain to a kaiju, and when that first happened in the 2013 movie, it looked like something horrible was going to happen to him. Either he was going to go through like a horrible transformation, or that he was going to become the host unit for these mysterious extra-dimensional aliens. Like he was going to be this movie's equivalent of Brent Spiner from Independence Day.
But then we were relieved when it turned out he didn't get affected too bad. He just found out what their evil plan was, and he immediately moved on. Granted, he was a little twitchy afterwards.
Yeah, in hindsight, we should have realized the repercussions for linking your mind with aliens.
And what makes it all kind of tragic is that all of these years of being influenced by these monsters, it's like he's corrupted. He legitimately empathizes with them. He legitimately likes being the bad guy. There doesn't seem to be any remorse.
It's almost as if all those years he's been slowly losing his innocence. We don't even know if there's even an ounce of the original Dr. Newt left.
And that's what's gonna make it real interesting if we ever get a third one of these.
Well, considering it was already next to impossible to get this one off the ground, I think the odds of the third one might be next to nothing.
Well, at least he did not die right when he was found out, like our next nominee, Tobias Beckett from Solo.
This is where spoilers really come and bite you in the ass. Unfortunately, this really affected how I saw his performance as the surprise.
Oh no, don't tell me his secret villainy was already spoiled for you.
No, his plot twist wasn't spoiled, but someone else's was.
Oh, you're talking about Darth Maul.
Yes, Darth Maul. I had already known about that before I saw this picture, and I really wish I didn't, because I just kept expecting for Darth Maul to show up. I didn't realize how big of a role he had, which, by the way, was next to nothing.
Yeah, he is sort of the Thanos of this movie, and I'm not talking about 2018 Thanos or 2019 Thanos. I'm talking about 2012 Thanos, or 2014 Thanos, or 2015 Thanos.
Yeah, where he just shows up to be like, oh, catch another movie with me next time. I didn't realize that that's the role he had. I thought that he was going to be the surprise villain. I thought for sure that that masked person, that masked leader, was going to be him. I thought that that person was going to take off their mask and baba-doopa-doopa Darth Maul in the flesh. There you go. Instead, it was just some freckly girl. Not that there's anything wrong with freckly girls. It's just that she's not Darth Maul. And that's when I realized, oh, his appearance is only a teaser. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that you were too busy looking forward to Darth Maul to appreciate Tobias Beckett's surprise villainy.
Yeah, it turns out that he was the one that we're supposed to be all, oh, plot twist, he was evil the whole time, but it's not really that surprising considering the environment and the type of life that Han Solo lives. I mean, yeah, duh, of course you're gonna get backstabbed. It happens like 20 times in the movie from various people. Even Lando backstabs him. This is my backstab. Don't catch you stabbing her. Don't catch you backing her. This is my backstab.
Yeah, I mean, I think the love interest was more of a surprise than him. Well, why don't we have her on here instead of him?
Because he was more of the villain here. She still kinda liked Han, but Beckett, on the other hand, he was the one that Han had to shoot first, and also get the whole ball rolling. Like, hey Han, you need to go to Tatooine and work for Jabba the Hutt so that A New Hope can happen. Do it right now, Han. Go, get on now, get on, get.
But not before being shot first.
Exactly. Now let's move on to an actual surprise. The Heffalump and Woozle from
Christopher Robin. Did that movie really have villains? I don't really remember that.
Oh, it did. It most certainly did. The douchebag of a boss that grown-up Christopher Robin had. That piece of shit.
But he wasn't a Heffalump or a Woozle.
He was called a Woozle. Now, granted, it might not be as good as the real thing, but this movie was trying to stay true to the essence of the original Winnie the Pooh. But back then, we never saw the Heffalump or Woozle. I think we saw them eventually in the 1990s show, and I know there was a movie in the early 2000s that had an actual Heffalump in it, but it pussified the Heffalump. They're supposed to be myths. They're supposed to represent the boogeymen. What makes them so poignant is the fear of them, but never actually seeing them. We only saw hallucinations of them during a drug trip. Instead, we get a reference to the Woozle. Because once we saw the Heffalump, that made us curious if we were going to see a Woozle. We did not come up empty, because at least we had some sort of payoff.
Wait, there was an actual Heffalump? But I thought we weren't supposed to see the Heffalump, only hallucinations.
That's what we saw, a hallucination, in a nightmare that Christopher Robin had, which made it really ambiguous as to whether or not these talking plush animals are actually there. Because if he's hallucinating a big elephant, then who's to say he's not hallucinating all of these creatures? Spoiler alert, he's not. They're all real. And that made us think, wait a minute, if they're real, then what about that vision of the Heffalump? And isn't that what's more scary? The more down-to-earth, realistic nightmares than the fantastical ones that clearly won't happen?
I think you're spending way too much time on this Winnie the Pooh movie. We gotta move on to another Disney entry.
What makes you think the next one is Disney?
Oh, come on. You and I both know that Disney owns the market of surprise villains, to the point where people are sick and tired of it.
Well, yeah, when it comes to their animated department, but this year, I feel like they really did hold back. They controlled themselves. Okay, maybe not regarding Pixar, but the main animation department, they kept their cool this time. They really showed restraint. But that's not the case with the live action department. And that's what brings us to the Sugar Plum Fairy from Nutcracker.
You saw the Nutcracker? You really are Disney's bitch now.
Hey! I thought this was I thought that this was gonna be solid. I just assumed that this was gonna be another Narnia, and it wasn't. But I'm not here to talk about the whole film, just the villain. And regarding the villain, it's still a whole lot of nothing, just a whole lot of blandness. I mean, it really isn't something that I was expecting to see, the Sugar Plum Fairy becoming evil. That would be like an adaptation of Peter Pan, where Tiger Lily is all of a sudden a serial killer and starts murdering the Lost Boys, and then murders Captain Hook, and now she's the one who Peter Pan must fight. It would be like that, because we expected the new villain to be this weird old lady, because the main villain is no longer the Rat King. Now he's a good guy, and he's not even a big rat anymore. He's just a bunch of rats piled together, because I guess they're trying to go for the realistic Rat King, the actual Rat King, which is a bunch of dead rats that got stuck together. Although none of these rats are dead, they're still alive when they're having their orgy to become a big conglomerate of rats. So since we knew that the Rat King was no longer the main villain, we had another red herring. It turns out that it's the Sugar Plum Fairy, which I do admit no one saw coming, but that's just because it's not that interesting of a plot twist. Who cares about the Sugar Plum Fairy? She's just some lady who just hangs out there in the original Nutcracker story, which barely even is a story. So it's not like we were all used to this story. We all had this story close to our hearts. It's not like we were so used to it that we were gut punched by this unexpected plot twist. I mean, this is no Scrappy-Doo from the live-action Scooby-Doo movie. Now that was a plot twist. This is just like, oh, okay, I guess this is happening now. Alright, whatever. Now, those were the nominees. So, Beckett clearly won't win, and Plum Fairy is too stupid. So, I'd say it's between the Heffalump and Dr. Newt.
Well, it's clearly Dr. Newt. Is the Heffalump really that big of a surprise? They didn't even technically show up. It was references.
Yeah, but it's references we did not expect. But I guess I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it safe and go with Dr. Newt. Yes, Dr. Newt is my pick.
All right. Let's see if we were right on the money. Here we go.
Yeah! Whoa! The winner of Best Surprise was no surprise. Well, Bullseye, thank you for cheering me up after I found out that my friend is just now dead.
Anytime, Blob. Now, if you excuse me, I'm on the run. There's someone trying to chase me.
Is it the surgeon that gave you those weird bullseye eyes that make no sense? Is it that guy who needs you to pay your medical bill?
No, it's a couple of goons that have been hired by Netflix. They want to terminate my ass. Well, they're gonna have to catch me first.
Oh, he is a dead man. He is not surviving that no way, no how. Well, the next category is, scary villain. Scary villain. And I'm not saying that because I'm trying to be all theatrical. I'm saying that because the Horde would have been perfect for that one too. He was so scary. He was so scary that people thought that they were watching a horror movie. They didn't even know until right near the end that it's actually a different genre the whole time. But no, I'm gonna have to have someone else, a different scary villain. But who would be scary enough? Who?
Psycho pirates.
What's so scary about you, other than looking like the Phantom of the Opera?
What's scary is my abilities to see other dimensions.
Oh, you're like that little dweeby guy from Men in Black 3.
Except I'm not as quirky. I am more dramatic, more ominous about my abilities.
So does that mean you can see a dimension where my friend did not die?
Well, I'm only limited to the dimensions from the DC multiverse. Plus, I don't really think I'm going to use my powers that much until next year's big DCCW crossover. Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Crisis on Infinite Earths? Oh boy, that's gonna be real ambitious. I'm not really sure you can continue the second half of a season if you're gonna make that big of a status quo change. I mean, Jesus Christ, that's where all of the universes just merge into one. Holy fuck!
Yes, it is too ambitious, isn't it? To do that would imply showing literally every single live-action universe that DC has ever had. Not just the CW stuff, or TV stuff alone. We're also talking movies, we're also talking comic books, we're talking literally everything. And you're right, there's no way the Arrowverse would be that ambitious.
Yeah, I'm guessing this is just to merge the Supergirl universe with the Flash universe. So that's probably what they're gonna do. They're just gonna do that and nothing else.
Except for me, I will be involved.
Will your colleague be involved? You know, that butt ugly guy who's butt ugly now.
Oh, you mean Dr. Destiny? Well, maybe. I feel like his powers are too low scale. All he does is just control people's nightmares. And he kind of already did that in this recent crossover, Elseworlds. So this would already be a downgrade. So I'm afraid he's going to have to sit it out.
Oh, but he already went through the transformation and everything. He's got his skull face.
If you call that a skull face, he looks more like Ebony Maw from Infinity War than he does the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, he's got more of a wrinkly butt face than a skull face. Just a big, pruny, old people butt face.
Yes, you expect him to be scarier than me?
Oh, well, if you're so scary, then that means you'll probably handle these scary nominees.
Oh, I am definitely up to the challenge. Let me see how scary these nominees are. Oh, Major Domo from Island of Dogs. That's not a horror movie. That movie's not scary at all.
The villain is. The way he looks, he represents the irrational fear of the foreign, of the unknown. And the rest of the movie, Isle of Dogs, is dedicated to the fact that we should embrace the foreign. We should be open to it. Maybe not to be the white savior. Maybe not that. Maybe not to be the white savior to save all of them and be like, hello, I am the amazing white person here to save the day. No. But this is supposed to be the character that represents when we first come to another country and we're like, oh, these people are different than us. Oh, I'm scared. Ew. But they are human. And that's what we're shown for the rest of the movie, you know.
Okay, fine. You can have that one. But the next nominee better be from a horror movie. And that one is, let's see here, Duke? Who is Duke? what movie is this from? Black Klansman? Am I reading that right? Black Klansman?
Yes, Black Klansman. And you're sure as hell that that's on the list. That is definitely on the list. And here is why. He is real. Yes, it's just like last year when we had the Nazis from Dunkirk. It's not made up. It's actually something that the real world legitimately has to deal with. This type of person. Now, I don't really want to get into the type of bad guy he is, because I really don't want to bring people down right now. This is supposed to be escapism. This is supposed to be all happy and upbeat. Upbeat, 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 upbeat. But a part of why he's so scary is that this is supposed to be history. In every meaning of the word, history. As in, it should be the past. It should be gone. It should be already dealt with. It should be something that we've moved on from. And as we see by the end of the film, where it goes all avant-garde, it didn't go away, this type of conflict, this type of villain. It just changed into a different form. It's just a new form now. And that main villain, Duke, he's still got some power. He doesn't have the same amount of power as he had before, that's for sure. But considering his connections and his support, the fact that he's still even got a little bit amount of power still, that is the most scary thing of all.
That's not fair for the other contenders. How are they supposed to compete with an actual, legitimate, real-life horror? I mean, let's take Dr. Izzard, for example. Dr. Izzard from The House with a Clock in Its Walls. This right here, I will give a pass. Yes, I am perfectly accepting of this nomination. I do believe that this counts as horror. It's just kids' horror. And kids' horror is still horror.
Yeah, it's not like the Goosebumps, where that's not really horror anymore. That's just slightly dark, wacky hijinks. This is still horror. This is just the kids' version of horror, but like you said, still horror nonetheless. Especially with that devil scene. Holy fuck! Oh, holy fuck! That was a legitimate devil they showed. And it wasn't the cartoony type of devil. It was like the really disturbing, like, First Testament. They'd be like, oh, what's that doing in a kid's movie? Jesus!
Not to mention what happens to Jack Black.
Yeah, that's a whole different type of horror right there. That's the horror of having to see a little naked adult. But we're not here for baby Jack Black. We're here for Dr. Izzard, the guy who we saw decompose. And granted, if you saw that in a normal horror movie, you'd be like, okay, whatever. But the fact that this is in the context of a kid's movie, holy shit! Oh man, you just have to admire that. The only thing that's really his handicap is that it's sort of implied that the way he gets defeated is by also turning into a little baby, but we never see the baby, and that's good because that would just ruin it. That would just ruin the horror, because now we're just going to remember of him oh, there's that villain that turned into a baby, so it's good that they didn't show the baby.
Plus, the fact that we did not see the baby implies that maybe he went all the way to the fetal form, along with his wife. And is that not the true horror?
You got to admit that this is a pretty solid list, though, right?
As long as the final one is the most horror of them all. And that one is... Is this some kind of you've got to be trolling me right now. You have got to be joking. Are you serious? Are you going to spit in my face right now and tell me that the villain of Wreck-It Ralph 2 is scary?
What's more scarier than looking in a mirror and seeing all of the imperfections, just the worst of yourself. Now, I'm not saying that that usually happens, but it did in this case because Ralph had to confront the worst of himself in this movie. Now, sure, the virus could have just destroyed all of the internet, and it does, but the fact that it also tied into the whole story arc of the movie, oh, that is just fantastic. That is just quaint. Thank you, Gobgalab.
Oh no, we no longer have the internet. How terrifying.
Hey, when you have a career that relies on the internet, that's like the most scary thing ever. That's like the biggest nightmare is, oh, no more job security. I mean, granted, most jobs that rely on the internet really aren't that secure to begin with, but the idea that all of that could be wiped out just completely, just 100%, now that is the real horror. Just all of your work completely gone. Just gone like that. And don't tell me that the image of a hollow Wreck-It Ralph, just a big giant Wreck-It Ralph without any eyes, just these big gaping eye holes and big gaping mouth, don't tell me that that's also not really scary.
Are you done justifying this hastily decided nomination?
Yes, I am.
This year, you better as hell watch some actual horror movies.
Okay, Psycho Pirate, if you're really butthurt about it.
That's all I ask for. Now, let's get this over with. Just reveal that Duke was the winner already.
Yeah! Oh, wait. I really should not be cheering for this. This person shouldn't be winning anything, except for Topher Grace. For achieving the opportunity of redeeming his villainhood. He finally played a legitimate villain, instead of a half-assed attempt at a good villain.
But seriously, go see some actual horror movies, you pussy!
Well, he's not going to be the main villain of Infinite Crisis with that attitude. So what do we have next? Most comedic villain. Oh man, this is another category that the Horde really excelled in. Just all the comedic moments of little Hedwig. And he had so many other personalities that offered just a whole lot of comedy. You got the Valley Girl, and you got the two twins, and you got the foreign person, and you got the other foreign person, and then you got the Jake Paul guy, the vlogger, and you also got the redneck southerner. You also got him. Just so many people, and you also have the pretentious movie critic. You even got that person. It's so meta. It could have been meta. It could have been so meta. Oh, but instead we've got this guy.
Are you implying that I am seriously not comedy material?
Well, is there really anything comedic about you? I mean, this seems like a random choice. It almost seems like they only chose you because they couldn't think of anyone else.
Well, I'll have you know that I am the perfect candidate for this job. Because where I come from, there's a lot of darkness going around the place. And I'm not talking about the darkness that you're supposed to have with your villains. I'm talking about the depressing buzzkill of having to deal with yet another allegory of real shit that's going on right now.
Well, I mean, we just gave an award to a Klansman, so I can't really comment on that.
Yeah, well, that's supposed to be informative. But me, on the other hand, my show, my Supergirl show, you know, Supergirl, on that show, it's supposed to be escapism. We're not supposed to think about real shit. We're not supposed to think about Proud Boys, or the Frog People, or any of that shit. So that's why you got me. I am the light in the darkness. I am the supervillain who's actually fun and upbeat.
Oh, did you just say upbeat? Upbeat, 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 upbeat.
Okay, that better as hell not be a recurring gag.
So what do you do that's so fun?
Well, I'm the witty supervillain. I like to crack some quips every now and then, you know, to show my charisma and whatnot. Like, for instance, my introduction to the series, where I strike a pose, look right into the camera, and then I pause for effect, and then finally, Manchester Black.
Oh, Manchester Black. Aren't you from that animated Superman movie?
Well, there's a whole bunch of them, mate.
Yeah, but yours is the only one that people actually like. But wait a minute, aren't you also an allegory of some real shit? Like Antifa or something?
I can't believe this. You automatically assume that I am a allegory of Antifa?
Well, don't you refer to yourself as the intolerant left?
Oh shit, I did do that, didn't I? I was really on the nose that time. Oi, let's just let bygones be bygones, and let's do this shit. Let's talk about some funny villains already.
Oh, I'll do anything to avoid talking about politics. Now let's talk about a fat ruler of a country who has tiny hands and thinks he's in charge of the whole world until you realize that he's actually working for someone else. Lord Newth from Early Man. So for most of the movie, we think that he's the highest up there, but then we realize, oh wait, there's actually a queen he's working for, and the queen is very abusive of him, and that's where the comedy comes. It comes at the realization that, oh wait, this guy is someone else's bitch. But what gives it the extra push is the way he communicates with the queen. Keep in mind this is during the Bronze Age, so we don't have any cell phones or Skype or TikTok or any of that. Instead, we've got messenger pigeons. So it would have been one thing if we saw her being all bitchy to him, but instead we get a bird being bitchy, being very authoritative against him. And he has to be all scared and be like, oh no, please don't hurt me. And it's really funny because it's a bird. It's a little tiny bird. It's a little tiny birdie bird. And he's taking the shit from it. He's like taking it real good as if this was the authoritative figure. And it's not. It's just the messenger. It's literally the messenger. And also it's all tied up nicely. It comes in full circle because the way he gets defeated is by a giant big bird. Yes, first he was abused by a little bird, now a big giant kaiju birdo.
Hey, I'm beginning to notice a pattern here. Look at our next nominee, Van Helsing from Hotel Transylvania 3.
Hey, you gotta admit, he was pretty funny too. And not because of the old man humor. That's not why I think he's funny. Or the cyborg humor, because he's been reduced to this little tiny, decrepit little mechanical thing. No, I mean that in itself is sort of funny, you know, like a big man has been reduced to this, that's the price you have to pay for keeping yourself alive for all of these years without using magic of any kind, because he's racist against the supernaturally enhanced. So guess what? If you're gonna have to live that long without that sort of help, then you're gonna have to become decrepit. But that's not where the main source of comedy comes from. It's because of how big and stupid and goofy he looks early in the film, in the flashback scenes, back during his prime, the era that we know him from. Because he's treating himself like he's this fierce force to be reckoned with, that will cause the doom for Dracula. He legitimately believes that. But what's funny is that no one else does. They just see him as a bumbling goof. And so does the movie, because look at him! He's got his big floppy hair that moves all around the place, and whenever he moves, he's all droopy-droppy and floopy-floppy. He's not even like the good type of ripped. He's like the weirdly grotesque, misshapen type of ripped.
Oh, blimey. This is just like last year.
What? Are you talking about 3 animated villains and only 1 live action? Well, you are wrong, because this time I achieved a balance. 2 of them are animated, but the other 2 are completely live action. Well, technically one of them is a puppet, but it's a live action puppet.
And that right there is the one I'm talking about. I'm not complaining about the majority being animated. I'm talking about the majority being kids flicks. Look at this bloke. His name is frickin' Slappy from bloody Goosebumps 2. Goosebumps 2? Are you serious?
I am serious. His comedy isn't just from the fact that he's a ventriloquist dummy. That alone wouldn't help him. That would probably just put him on the horror side. But what puts him on this side is how he treats his employees. Like when the dad from Rick and Morty becomes one of his foot soldiers, a big green Shrek. Slappy starts becoming like his boss, like his friendly boss, like being very casual and polite, treating his employee like a person, and not like a mindless foot soldier like we see with all the other characters. No, he treats this guy with respect. He's like, look, I'm going to refer to you as your name because you got your name tag, and I respect that about you, and I'm going to treat you like an individual. And that's funny, because he's not like that with any other character, because with every other interaction he has, he's always demonic and very haunting.
That's all fine and good, mate, but that doesn't make up for the fact that once again, you got 3 out of the 4 being kids flicks, while 1 is an adult flick. And it's not even a good choice. Ray Foster from Bohemian Rhapsody? That movie's barely a comedy.
Okay then, Mr. Black. Can I call you Manchester instead? Okay then, Mr. Manchester, Mr. Chester, Mister. Why don't you do the talking for this one? You tell me why he doesn't deserve to win.
Well, I'm guessing the only reason why we got Ray Foster here is because he was in that one scene that was so funny. Because, oh, look at me. I'm the guy who's known for loving the Bohemian Rhapsody song. So isn't it ironic that I'm playing the guy who disapproved of it?
What, are you saying that scene at the end of the movie where they cut back to him when they're singing We Are the Champions, and then they get to that one lyric of No time for losers, and they show him right there missing out on the fun of being rich? Are you telling me that is not legitimately a funny scene?
Well, yeah, I guess it is kind of chuckle-worthy. It just seemed like they did that just because they were begging for one little extra bit of a joke.
Well, I'm sorry, Manchester, but I was going to put Mary Poppins on there, but then I decided, you know what? I've already seen a bland Disney movie, so I don't really need an overload of that. So I skipped it, and and this was the only one that I could find to fill the slot. Okay? Are you happy? Are you happy there? There. I revealed my trade secret. Damn it.
Yes, I am very happy that I broke you. But good God, did you make this difficult to choose from? I don't give a shit about any of these blokes.
Let me see. You are probably right about Lord Nuth having the disadvantage, because barely any people are probably aware of him. So I'd say Ray Foster, because if anyone's going to remember anything from that movie, it's either that part or Live Aid. And since he's technically a part of that scene too, all the more reason why it's him.
Okay, fine, I'm going with that too.
But you're not making the effort to choose.
Well, too bad, mate, because the winner is coming whether you like it or not, right now. Ha! You failed me. That's the last time I trust a Batman.
Hey, don't generalize us. And besides, at least Early Man won at something. It wasn't the box office, and it wasn't a sequel. Probably because America doesn't give a shit about soccer. Oh, I'm sorry. Football. Oh, ho, 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 ho.
Well, just for that, I'm happy that a movie from the Queen's Land achieved greatness. Good on you, Early Man. Represent football all the way.
I guess you're gonna go back to being an allegory of Antifa, huh?
No, I'm gonna try to distance myself from that by putting together a team of people who share the same beliefs as me.
That just makes you more like Antifa.
God damn it!
Oh, thank God. We're finally at Best Villain Death. This is the one that I couldn't wait for, because the presenter of this award is just the man who I need to talk to. The man that's gonna make sense of this all. Who killed the Horde, and why? Why was he killed? Who would do such a thing? He was so popular, everyone loves him. He was the one who went against the crowd and stood out. I need to know what happened, and the best person to ask is the man who's from that universe, from the Unbreakable universe. He will be the one who has all of the answers. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for the living legend himself, Mr. Glass. Oh, no!